Don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our 2 newly released books, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? These books feature over 100 stories from current and former coaches, players, executives, and entertainers from across the football landscape, describing what got them involved in the game, what they love about it, and what life lessons the game taught them. You can find your copy or order your copy from our website at footballgameplan.com/books. Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our preview of the 2015 famous Idaho Potato Bowl between the Akron Zips and the Utah State Aggies. And let's start this video off by taking a look at my keys to victory. Starting with Akron in this ball game, if I'm quarterback Thomas Woodson, I don't have to do anything spectacular. Just have a workman-like effort. Keep the offense on pace, keep the football moving down the field, and don't make the mistakes. And also, you have to beat the blitz. Utah State does a great job in applying pressure within their front 7. They can get pressure with their front 4. Their backers are athletic. They can blitz. You have to beat the blitz if you want to beat the Aggies. And in the secondary, I think they have to play above the rim. Utah State has some tremendous receivers on the flanks, and if they can't win those one-on-one battles down the field, then the Zips defense could struggle. And now for Utah State in this ball game, it's going to be important to win at the point of attack. I really like the offensive line of Akron, and if they can't get off blocks and get pressure on Thomas Woodson, they're going to struggle. Also, you look at inside the red zone, both offensively and defensively. This has been the Achilles heel for the Aggies all season long. They have to do a better job on both ends once they get inside the 20, and if the Akron Zips are able to get inside the 20, they have to win in that aspect. And Kent Myers' athleticism will be key in this ball game. I think this is probably one of the most underrated aspects of what he brings to the table. He's a very mobile guy. He does a great job in creating things in the passing game because of his mobility. And I think his athleticism could play a huge role in the outcome of this ball game.
This is going to come down to, can one team rush the ball, and can one team stop the rush? In this case, it's Utah State that's going to want to rush the ball, and it's Akron that's going to want to stop the rush. Akron's defense has been stingy all year on running the ball. They've only allowed 89.8 yards per game on the ground. That's in stark contrast to what they've been able to how they played against the pass, which is well over 300. So they're going to look to make sure they eliminate the ability for Utah State to run the ball. What Utah State has working in their favor is a very experienced offensive line, led by senior Tiny Fisalau, who's a senior right guard, and then they have the 2 Austins, Austin Albrecht and Austin Stevens, left tackle and center respectively, who also are redshirt juniors, and another redshirt junior in Jake Simonic, who plays on the right side. And so when you look at that type of experience on the offensive line, you definitely have to give the edge to Utah State to keep their quarterback upright, but to more importantly, dominate the line of scrimmage in the run game. I like Utah State to win this one.
And looking at Akron, I think the X factor for them, it has to be the linebackers, Jatavius Brown and Dylan Evans. Brown's got over 100 tackles on the season. Evans has 98. So these are guys that are always around the football, and they're going to have to find their way to the football against Chucky Keaton and keep him from making some plays to break this game open. Looking at Utah State, you mentioned Chucky Keaton. He is my X factor, and I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Chucky Keaton is going to have to find a way to make a couple plays to get this team in field goal range and scoring position, or possibly come up with a long scoring play. They're going to have to do that. Something like what he did against Auburn a couple years ago. But you just look at just what Akron brings to the table. I think that defense is going to be too much for Utah State. As I mentioned, the linebackers. I got Akron beating Utah State.
This bowl game pits Akron versus Utah State. Now for Utah State, we know that they've been a traditional quote-unquote mid-major powerhouse that's produced lots of offensive defensive talent on the second level, which is the NFL. Now for Utah State on offense, they have 2 talented wide receivers in Hunter Sharp and Brandon Swindell. Watch out for them to give fits to this Akron defense. Akron has their own top-flight receiver, Michael Lee Harris, that should give fits also to this Utah State Aggies team. Now on the defensive side of the ball, each team has a pretty versatile outside linebacker, Kyler Fackrell from Utah State, and Jatavis Brown from Akron. He's a little undersized, but the guy flies around and plays good ball. All in all, I do expect Utah State to pull this one out, even with the absence of Chucky Keaton. I think that he might not be eligible for this game or might not be able to play. But I still think they're able to pull it out with the amount of talent they have on the offensive side of the ball. Pretty easily, actually.
Before he became a Super Bowl winning safety, Dwight Smith was an outstanding cornerback from 1997 to 2000 for the Akron Zips. As a senior, he totaled 10 interceptions for the Zips en route to being a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award and a consensus All-American. Donald Penn became the second freshman to start on that offensive line since 1996 and was a 4-year starter for the Aggies en route to earning second-team All-WAC honors as a senior. Tremendous football player for Utah State. The Buffalo Bulls came into the 2013 famous Idaho Potato Bowl matchup versus San Diego State with an 8-3 record and ran into a red and black buzzsaw as the Aztecs totaled 460 yards of total offense, 249 of which came on the ground, en route to a 49-24 victory. I like Akron in this ball game. I think the Zips defensively will be a problem for Utah State, and that's rare to see because Utah State usually has a very good offensive attack, but I think the way Akron is playing defense right now, it leads me to believe that they'll do a great job in slowing down what the Aggies bring to the table, both throwing the football and running the football. And as we recap the picks, Teron and I are going with Akron. Chris and Gene are going with Utah State. We're split right down the middle. Should make for an outstanding Idaho Potato Bowl.